Warning: the following podcast has been rated listener R due to strong language, violent situations, drug references, sexual innuendos, and who knows what else. Listener discretion is advised. With that being said, hang on, sugar tits, because we're about to get wobbled.
What's up, guys? It's Wobble back again with another episode of the Let's Get Wobbled podcast. Once again, I just apologize a lot on this show, really. I feel like that's about all I get done anymore. But you're going to hear another one, so here we go. Quit barking at the ghosts in the house, please. Leave them alone. I'm sorry that the dogs bark during my podcast. But no, I apologize. I haven't put out much content. It's been 20 days since my last podcast dropped. I'm going to try to get this edited and put out for you guys today. Since I've been slacking, I know it's a Friday. I'm hoping to get it edited and put out for you guys. That way you guys have something to listen to versus just not having anything the last few weeks. But I plan to explain all that shit, and we'll get into a good topic today. I feel like it's going to be beneficial for some, and for others probably not, but we'll just talk about whatever we have to talk about, and we'll enjoy our day. And that's what the whole podcast thing was about. I had to get back into that routine again, which is going to be difficult, but I'll talk all about everything going on here lately. But the reason the podcasts haven't been being put out is I felt bad that I didn't have any guests for you guys. And when I don't have a guest, I feel like it's hard to have a topic to talk about with just myself. I don't really like my own voice. And I know that sounds stupid because people are like, you have a fucking podcast. Like, you should at least like the sound of your own voice and like the way that it comes out. And I don't, but it is what it is. But I don't like just recording by myself. I do have other podcasts set up where I'm going to do some interviews with some guys, and I enjoy those a lot more than I do just podcasting by myself. But I also feel like I needed to do you guys a service and put out an episode that you guys could at least enjoy. And if you guys don't if you guys don't like listening to my voice by itself, then this one's probably going to blow too. But if you hang in there, we'll try to tie something in to make it comparable for everybody and something that everybody would like. But I just kind of got out of the groove again for podcasting. It's hard to stay in the groove and continue to record consistent episodes. And especially now with the new hours that I work, I love my new position. I know I've bragged about it in the last couple episodes, but I love what I do now. I don't want to call off work, where before I always wanted to take time off. And now I enjoy what I do and I don't want to take time off work. I enjoy being there and doing my job and being around the people that I'm around, and just talking with them and everything. And maybe I can get one of those guys to come on. I haven't really told them much about the podcast. I've kind of told them a little bit about it, but nothing too crazy. But maybe we could get one of those guys on and get you a different type of interview. But we'll talk more about shit like that later. But just kind of an update as to what's been going on the past 3 weeks, because you guys haven't heard from me and probably don't know what the fuck's going on and wondering why I'm being lazy. But like I said, I just been finding it hard to put out content at a regular basis because I now work Monday through Thursday and I work 4/10. So I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get home at around 4:30. And now I'm in charge of the dinners, which, don't get me wrong, I love cooking. I do enjoy cooking. So when I come home, I'm like, okay, I got to figure out what we're doing for dinner. And I told Kristen, I said, my mind's so fucking scatterbrained, and it always has been. I like to plan out a menu, I guess you would say, for the week. So that way I can come home, I can look at that list and say, oh, okay, we're doing chicken Alfredo tonight. And I can start prepping it and doing whatever I have to do with it. Or I can look and say, oh, okay, we're having ribeyes and pulled pork, or we're having ribeyes and potatoes or whatever. So I can get shit figured out and planned out, and it helps keep my shit on track. So I get dinner made. Kristen comes home. We talk about our day normally. We have a lot of TV shows that we like to watch, and we're spending a lot more quality time together. And thank God for that. I really appreciate the time that her and I get to spend with each other. It was funny. I asked her last weekend, or maybe it was through the week. I can't even remember now when it was, but I told her, I said, what's one of the small things in our relationship that you love? Like, what would you consider something small, something that's overlooked, and something that's just super minute that you really love and appreciate about our relationship. Just see what she would kind of say. And she's like, I'd have to think about it. I'll have to figure out what I want to say. And it was funny. Last weekend, I spent the entire weekend um, stacking up for firewood. So when I bought this new house, it had a wood burner in it. We used the wood burner all last winter, and we just didn't have enough time last year because we had just bought the house in December. We didn't have time to go cut firewood. It was already cold and already time to get the wood burner going. So this year, I'm trying to be a little bit more proactive versus reactive, trying not to buy as much firewood. Um, but still, I don't have any place to cut firewood locally, really. So having to try to find firewood that I can cut and split it and get it all ready and stored away for the winter. And it was funny. I did buy a truckload of firewood from a guy from work. He gave me a really good price on the entire truck bed of wood. We were going up to go and load it up. He already had it split and everything that he had already done. And we stopped at McDonald's just for a quick breakfast. And I grabbed a sandwich and two of their little breakfast burritos. And on the way down, she didn't have much to eat. She wasn't really hungry. It was kind of early in the morning. Um, but she asked if she could have a bite of my burrito, and I'm like, of course you can. Like, I don't care. I don't mind to share my food. It is what it is. So I go to unwrap the burrito, and she's like, well, can you take a bite out of the end of the burrito in case it's like stiff, in case the end of the burrito gets kind of stiff. You know how fucking it gets. Like if you ever gotten a burrito from a fast food place, sometimes the ends get a little like stiff and not crispy, but like just they don't. It's not the best part of the burrito. Obviously, the good stuff's in the middle of the burrito. She's like, I want a piece out of the middle. I'm like, okay, I don't give a shit. Like, it's just a burrito. I'll eat it. So I ate the first bite and I gave the burrito to her for the second bite. She's like, that's what I like about you the most is you're willing to eat the shitty part of the burrito so that way I can have the best part of the burrito. And we laughed and joked about it. But that's the one thing I do love about her is I get to spend the quality time with her that I really appreciate in the afternoons and evenings. Um, we bought a Nintendo Switch a while back. Her and I like to play a lot of trivia games and like to compete against each other. She's very competitive. I've known this since I met her, but she is very competitive and doesn't like to lose. So that always brings like an aspect to it that's kind of funny, but kind of not. And along with the Nintendo Switch, we also play what we call our iPhone games every day. Um, we downloaded the New York Times game app or whatever. So we play the Wordle every day. When we come home, we race to see who can get the Wordle done the fastest and the least amount of guesses. We play connections and the mini crossword puzzle and strands. If you don't know anything about it, it's just little games that you can play with your significant other, just even by yourself, just to kind of pass time. And I really appreciate that time that we get to spend with each other because it means so much to me that we're bonding and spending that time together. Even though she may have had a shit day at work and I might have gotten chewed out by my fucking boss all day and just had a shit day at work, I can still come home and we can still spend that quality time together. And sometimes we'll play a game on the Switch or something and just enjoy each other's time and company. And I appreciate that the most. But that all being said and wrapping back around, I have Fridays off, and normally I try to spend my Fridays getting things done earlier on in the week, like laundry and the dishes and kind of cleaning up around the house. That way I don't have to do it later on in the week. Um, so Fridays are normally pretty busy, or I'm just relaxing on Fridays. Saturdays, we've been trying to make plans with family or friends to do other things. Um, I'm also a huge Buckeye fan, so I like to watch the Buckeye games on Saturdays, and football season's in full swing right now. So really, Saturdays is a lot of relaxing and kind of doing my own thing too. Sundays, I'm getting back in the groove of going to work. I watch a lot of NFL football too. So my weekends have just been kind of busy, and there's been other shit that I've been wanting to get done, like watching football and stacking firewood, and had to get the bike cleaned up last weekend because this episode hopefully coming out on Friday. By the time you guys are hearing this, hopefully we'll be getting everything set out, clothes set out, whatever. If you're listening to it Saturday the 21st, by the time you guys listen to it, we'll probably already be there. But we're going up to Brook Park, just south of Cleveland, for our Brook Park's pig roast that we're going up supporting them for their ride they're doing through the day and having a pig roast for dinner. Um, something that the club's going to go do. So we're looking forward to doing that and spending time with the guys up there and going for a nice little ride Saturday. Not supposed to be scorching hot, but it's supposed to be a gorgeous day. So we're looking forward to it. But to circle that all back around, you hear about how good the week is and how things go. And I just have not set time aside to do the podcast. It's kind of fell off. I felt like if I had a guest, I would make time for it, but just kind of doing it by myself, I don't make the time to do it. And I feel bad because I don't put that content out for you guys that you guys enjoy, but I need to get in a better routine and try to find a way that I can continuously squeeze this in. I've even thought about going to an episode every 2 weeks. I know that would kind of suck, but just trying to get you guys consistency and fit this along with all the other things that I do in life kind of makes it difficult, but I also enjoy doing it. So it's just trying to find that balance. And I guess if that's one thing you take away from this is trying to find a balance in your life for doing the things that you like to do and making that time for them. And some things, you have to list your priorities. The podcast isn't really the biggest priority that I have out of all the things that I wanted to get done the past 3 weeks. I've had some other things that I'd rather be doing or tweaking with the motorcycle a little bit. I posted on my Facebook that I like the sound of my motorcycle with the baffles out. Other people, not so much. So I'm trying to find a happy medium with those. I thought about moving my speakers around to try to get better sound quality for me while I'm riding. There's just other things that I'd rather be doing than sitting down and recording and editing the podcast. And I know that sounds bad, but it's just not as high on my priority list. But I did want to get you guys something out today, so I'm going to make this little episode here, and hopefully it'll hold you guys off until I can get the other guests on that I want to get on. But what I really wanted to get down to, and some of the meat and potatoes in the episode, like I said, I covered the time at home that I'm spending, and kind of the podcast has been taking a back burner, but everything's good. We'll get it back rolling again soon, and you guys will get your content that you guys enjoy, I hope. Fantasy football updates. If you guys don't like fantasy football or don't know anything about fantasy football, just hang on because I got more important shit coming later down the pipe. But I'm going to go ahead and get this out the fucking way for the people who do like fantasy football. We had our fantasy football draft the night that the last episode posted, August 30th. We did it before the holiday weekend. Had a lot of fun at the draft. We had 12 guys total, including myself, there at the draft. We don't do a big draft. It's like $20 to play, and then the winner gets the pot. Second place gets their money back. But just the feel of giving us something to do during football season, and it does take up kind of a little bit of time to do it. But for those fantasy football fanatics out there and the pro football fanatics, we did what we call the wheel of death, if you will. So everybody's name, all 12 people, got put on a randomizer wheel. We spun the wheel. The first person that got chosen on the wheel was the 12th pick of the draft, and the last person that got picked was the first pick of the draft. I was kind of hoping for somewhere in the middle, somewhere around the 6, 7, maybe 8 pick. I like those later round picks to get a better turnaround. I wound up with the fifth pick overall. I wasn't too upset with that, and I'll explain to you guys kind of why. So in the 5th round, my first draft pick was Breece Hall with the New York Jets. I knew I wanted to pick a running back early. I wanted to get some running backs and wide receivers early. My draft doesn't really show the greatest draft in the world. I'll explain later on. But with my first pick for the 5th pick of the draft, I took Breece Hall with the Jets. He did really good last year. He made a good running last year. I felt like he would make a good fit for the team that I had, knowing where the Jets were coming into the season. I thought he was going to be pretty good. On the turn for the 2nd pick, I got Mike Evans, which I felt really confident about. He's done really good this past year. He did good last year. I'm sorry. This year, doing okay, kind of middle of the road, kind of a little bit better than average, I guess you would say, for sure. I believe he's in the top 20. The 3rd pick, I took Deebo Samuel. He was doing really good. And then, unfortunately, he got injured during week 2. And I believe he's going to be out for a couple weeks at least. I think that's what ESPN was telling everybody. Yeah, strained calf muscle for the last 2 games, 2 minutes remaining in the game. Said he would probably sit out for a few games. So that kind of had me worried a little bit, but it is what it is. I've got him on the bench right now. He did pretty good for me the last couple of weeks. The fourth pick, I took Sam Laporta, who's kind of been a bust for me. I was kind of hoping he would be pretty good with the Lions, um, but it didn't really pan out the way that I wanted it to. The fifth pick, I took Jalen Hurts. Wasn't really the quarterback that I had strived to get, but guys were taking quarterbacks, and I knew I needed to take somebody decent early. So I picked up Jalen Hurts for the fifth pick. The sixth pick was Amari Cooper, probably the biggest bust for me so far this year. The Browns have looked like shit, like always, and Amari Cooper is just not getting the touches. Um, I don't know if that's to. I'm sure it's to blame on the quarterback. I'm also sure it's to blame on him because he's not catching the ball. He's being targeted some, not as much as he probably should, but he's just not getting. He's just not completing the passes that he needs, and it's kind of pissing me off. But nevertheless, got him with the what I say sixth pick. Seventh pick was Aaron Rodgers. I thought Aaron was going to have a good comeback year. He hasn't really showed great things coming up. Um, so far within the first couple weeks, he hasn't been amazing, but he is holding in there on the seventh pick. With the eighth pick, I took Zamir White with the Raiders. I thought that was going to be a better option also, and I kind of screwed up there. I wanted to take a running back a little earlier than what I did. If I would have known, I'd probably taken one a little earlier, probably in the sixth round, but he just hasn't been doing much of anything there for me. With the ninth round, I took Pittsburgh's defense. Felt pretty good with that. Pittsburgh's actually done me pretty good with the defense. Obviously, they don't get out a lot of points, but it is what it is there. With the 10th pick, I took DeAndre Hopkins. He's also been a bust. Not anything going on there. 10th pick, I took Jake Elliott. I believe he did great for me last year with the Eagles. And I also like the guy because we share the same last name. So something in me told me to pick him again this year. So I just picked him up and we'll see where it goes. With the 12th pick, I took Jamison Williams with the Jets, I took Jamison Williams with the Lions. He's been great for me this year. I've had him on the bench the first 2 games, and he's actually now in the starting rotation. I also took Rashid Shaheed with the 13th pick. He's also done really good, but he was riding my bench the first 2 games. I have him starting for me now. So guys that I didn't think were going to do the greatest, I picked up really late in the draft. They're actually coming through pretty good. Romeo Dobbs, I picked up. He hasn't really done much for me with the Packers, but we'll see if he turns it around, maybe gets more touches. And then I took Chase Brown out of the last round, the 15th pick. Just because I thought I needed another wide receiver. I only had 3. The first one, obviously, Brees Hall was a good option. Zamir White, I didn't know if it was going to pan out or not. So I tried to pick up another running back. And my running back game is very lacking in the running back department. I've tried to make trades with guys to get better running backs and trade off possibly a Deebo Samuels or a Mike Evans, and just really haven't gotten the response that I was hoping to out of both of them. Um, just hoping that I could get something out with the trade, but haven't been horrible. My overall draft grade came back as a B. My projected record was 13-2 out of the season, and my projected finish was second. That was before the season started. Now, if you watch any pro football and you've heard about the people that I've drafted, you know that my team sounds like shit, and pretty much is. I was projected to go 13-2. I am now 0-2. So I'm going to have to win out to keep my projection correct. And doesn't look too good for me at this very moment unless I get some trades going or pick up some people off of the waiver wire. So speaking of the waiver wire, on this week, I picked up Derek Carr with the Saints. He's the number 2 quarterback right now in the league. Obviously, I know that's not going to remain, but he's been doing really good. Hoping he continues on that spurt. So I picked him up on the waiver wire, and I do believe that I dropped off Aaron Rodgers. Juwan Jennings, I picked him up from the San Francisco 49ers. They're projecting him to take Deebo Samuel's spot while he's injured for the next couple weeks. So I'm hoping that that's the scenario. I also picked up Mike Gesicki. I felt like I needed another tight end. I only drafted one tight end out of Sam Laporta, and he hasn't been doing me that great. So picked up the Bengals tight end just to kind of see what we would have there. Projected to lose again this week. So far, Brees Hall's got me 18 points with a game that they had on Thursday night. So hoping that we can come out and have a better season or a better run, a turnaround from these first two games being lost. I'm not in last place. I'm in 10th place out of 12th. So hopefully we'll kind of see what happens there. Now that fantasy football talk's over, let's jump back, kind of backtrack just a little bit. I was talking about some of the things that Kristen and I like to do. We talked about the Switch and some of the games that we like to play and different things of that nature. Her and I also like to watch TV together. There's TV shows that we bond and actually watch together and enjoy watching together. I got back into watching WWE with her. She really enjoys it. So we've been watching it on Monday nights and sometimes on Friday nights. It just depends on how early we go to bed. Survivor also started back up. So if you like to watch Survivor, I'm probably going to be giving away some spoilers during Survivor. So I'll kind of try to let you know maybe when I talk about that. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to kind of skip through this part a little bit and you like to watch it. So we watched the first episode of Survivor last night. Actually, pretty interesting. Some of the characters, I'm not really sure. I haven't found my guy yet, or my girl, or my person that I like to root for so far. Still trying to feel it out. Becoming a lot more drama related, in my opinion, and I'm not really big on the whole drama stuff. I like watching the challenges and watching them compete. But we watched Survivor. It was a good episode this week. The first challenge, there was a team that was in dead last for the most part of the challenge, just came back in the end to win it. And then the second challenge for the immunity idols, they had this little wooden boat, and they got to put these chests on the boat and paddle them into shore. And me and Kristen were sitting here talking, and we were like, it's so funny watching this on TV because you're talking about how easy you think it would be, or like, oh, these people are doing it wrong. They should do it this way. You're Monday morning quarterbacking everything. And it's so funny to sit and watch. And like her and I got to laughing so hard about it yesterday when we were watching it because we recorded it. Because we're like, there's no way we would be able to do it. Like, if I was on Survivor, I would need, obviously, so much fucking time off work would be ridiculous. I wouldn't even do it anyways because, like, on day one, I'd probably have like a breakdown and be like, I'm just so fucking hungry. I haven't eaten in days. Like, I can't fucking make it. They need to get me the fuck out of here. And Kristen, for her being as competitive as she is, she's like, there's no way. She's like, I'd have an emotional breakdown just because, like, I should have won and these people should have lost and I can do better. And it was just funny to just watch and figure out what is going down, but what we thought was going to happen. But it's something that we bond over. And I really, like I said, I've said it before, but I appreciate her and I spending that time together. And like I said, if you guys have something with your significant other, please continue to do that. Don't let that flame die out. It's so hard for us as humans living together, I guess you would say, just trying to continue to keep that fire going. Relationships are easy to get started, it feels like, but they get harder to maintain because you just kind of feel like you get in that groove and get in that rut almost, I guess you would say. And one thing that I do appreciate about Kristen is with her and I feel like we've never stopped dating each other. We always try to make time for each other. Obviously, we don't spend every waking moment together, and there's sometimes where she goes and does things with her friends on the weekends that I don't mind. She does. She goes and hangs out and has fun, and she doesn't mind that I go out for motorcycle rides or hang out with the guys and go do stuff with my friends that she doesn't have to be a part of. We're perfectly okay with doing our own thing, and we also like spending time with each other. You have to find that good balance, I think, and that's one of the most important things, and one of the best things I think about our relationship is everything's meshed so well together and worked so well together. I can't be more thankful that that's the way that it is, and I just really appreciate that that's the way that our relationship works. But my last thing that I'm going to do, I'm around this kind of episode out a little bit. This is way the fuck off topic, so please bear with me on this. But I was sitting at work and I was kind of just flipping through some things, what to talk about on the podcast, and we're getting ready to go on a big ride tomorrow. We're going to spend all day pretty much on and off the bikes at different stops and doing dinner. and I've heard other people talk about this too, a big controversy. So, if you are going on a road trip with you and your family, or just by yourself, or with you and your significant other, everybody has their staple road trip snacks and road trip drinks. They may not be the same snacks that you prefer on a regular day, but I wanted to talk about that a little bit so people could kind of maybe talk about it with their spouse or their friends, or maybe even with me, bounce ideas back and forth about what your favorite snacks are. So let's just say you are stopping to get snacks at a gas station. So my question for you guys is, what is your staple road trip, or just trip in and of itself, snacks? So I'm pulling up to a gas station. I gotta have gum in the car. I feel really bad about this, and I'll talk about it more within another episode. It's not really this episode's topic, but I fell back into the habit of using daily nicotine again. Unfortunately, when I had my wisdom teeth pulled, I went on a ride like 2 or 3 days afterwards. I still had my stitches in, and everybody else had taken cigars with them on the motorcycle ride, and I desperately wanted a cigar. And I was like, man, I know I can't smoke because I've got these wisdom teeth pulled and I'm going to get dry socket. So I know I can't smoke a cigar, but I want something that I can do with everybody else and still have that a little bit of nicotine. So I bought another can of Zen pouches or On pouches, whichever you want to use. It's the same shit. So I bought a pack of them, used them for the ride, continued to use them throughout the week. And then I've been consistently buying more ever since I got my wisdom teeth pulled, and not a huge fan of it. I told Kristen about it, and she's not upset about it, but she was hoping that I would, because I quit, I would stay off of them. She doesn't really care one way or another what I do, but I just know that she's not a diehard advocate for nicotine. And I get that. Like, it's expensive habit, it's a stupid habit, and I need to quit. But back on it again. But if I don't have nicotine, I'm perfectly okay with just gum, something to keep my mind busy and my mouth busy. So if we go to a gas station, I'm definitely getting a pack of gum if I don't already have one. Um, I'm weird and like kettle cooked chips on car rides. Now, granted, kettle cooked are my favorite chips to have, but like, I can just get a medium bag of regular ass salty kettle cooked chips. Those are my favorite snacks to have on a road trip. Like, I don't know what it is, but they're fucking delicious. And I don't normally get them. I think that's what I like about them the most, is I don't always have them on hand. So when I do get the chance to get them on a road trip or something, those are the chips that I like, is just regular ass kettle cooked chips. Um, for a drink, um, my big thing is I've been on a body armor kick. So obviously everybody knows Gatorade's not really the best for you if you're not working out, because it's got a lot of salt in it. I do drink some Gatorade from time to time, but I like flavored drinks like that aren't super sugary, um, but still something that tastes good and something that I can drink without guzzling pop all day. And body armors have been the way that I've been moving with, throughout the whole. I don't know. I've been taking them to work probably for the last 3 years. I get a big box of them through Sam's Club when we go and we place our orders, and that's just what like my daily drinks are for the most part. So I really enjoy body armors. So I'll grab probably 2 big body armors, and that'll keep me going through the road trip. I'm trying to think if there's anything really else. Me and Kristen talked about it. I'm not much of a sweets person. I'm not big on candy. Used to be, but I guess I just kind of got out of it, and I'm not really a big candy person. If I was to get a candy, I'm a like a white Reese's guy, or maybe some peanut M&Ms or peanut butter M&Ms maybe, but not really a huge diehard candy person. But I just kind of wondered what everybody else's staple road trip snacks are. I know Kristen will bend over backwards for a bag of sunflower seeds, and I used to be that way. I used to love sunflower seeds, and I kind of got out of that groove too after I got out of high school. But she'll sit here on the couch and just gnaw through a whole bag of sunflower seeds. And then I'll tell her, be like, your mouth has to be raw after eating that many sunflower seeds. She's like, oh, yeah, they are, but they're so good. And I laugh about it, but she really enjoys them. Um, she likes to drink her water. If I had to guess, I could get her a Dr. Pepper. She'd be okay with it, but I bet she'd probably prefer a water. Um, I'll have to ask her what her snack staple would be. I'll have to bring that up to her when she gets home today and kind of see what she thinks about it. But what are your guys' road trip snacks? If you want to figure out a way to get a hold of me, let me know and see what. Let me know what your guys' favorite snacks are. Maybe we can compare and see what. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe you guys tell me something like, "Oh man, I haven't had that in a while," or "I really like that." Obviously, it's not a road trip snack or beverage, but once I get to where I'm going, I'd like to have a nice cold beer. But I mean, can't really have that in the car. Some people will tell you otherwise, but no, just kind of seeing what everybody else's staples are because I know everybody has different tastes and different aspects of what they like. And sometimes road trip snacks aren't always what you have on hand and aren't always your favorite every day of the week, but sometimes just something to do or something your favorite road snacks are. But so to kind of spoil it a little bit, I'm trying to schedule an episode with Scout. I'm sure I've probably mentioned these in the other podcast before, but just in case, I'll go ahead and recap those. Scout's the president of the Cambridge chapter for the Warthogs. Um, I feel like it would be a good perspective to get from him um, and kind of try to talk about some things about the motorcycle club, how he feels things run, and kind of about his aspect because he's got his lifer status. He's been here for more than 10 years. And I think it would be good to get a perspective from him and kind of see how things would go through him. So we've been in communications already. He said we're definitely going to do one. It's just the time of getting to where we're going to record the podcast. He's been on vacation all last week and had some things going on the week prior, and that kind of stuff just it happens. You know, people have a life outside and want to do things. Like I said, it's listing your priorities. Um, Another guest that I'd like to get on is Legacy. Um, you guys will learn a lot more about him. I'll let him talk for himself as to what he does and kind of his spiel on things. September being National Suicide Prevention Month, I feel like he would be a really good person to talk to. He does a lot of things with like hostage negotiation type things, de-escalation tactics. Through some of the jobs that he's done, I'll get him on, and I bet he's got some really good stories and just some good tips, tricks, or whatever you guys may think. Or we'll just let the podcast flow whenever him and I get scheduled. But we've also been in talked about a couple of dates that we would like to do. I'm going to contact him here within the next couple of days just to make sure those dates are still set. See where we're going to meet up if I'm going to him or he's coming to me, and I'm sure that'll be a great episode. And I would like to get a prospect on. We've got two prospects right now at the Cambridge chapter. Another person's possibly talking about hanging around or prospecting. But I'd like to get a prospect on um, just so you guys can kind of get a feel for what it's like being a prospect with the Warthogs and kind of get their um, intake on it and what they feel about it. I talked to one of the prospects about it. We took a little ride down to Mothman Museum down in West Virginia at Point Pleasant. He was there that day, and I shot him the idea. I was like, "Hey, you want to be a guest?" And he completely avoided it. Said he's not a people person. I call bullshit on that. I know he's a talker. You just have to get him to talk. And I think people get nervous about podcasting because they don't like the sound of their own voice. They think it's going to be awkward. But any guest that you've talked to or you would ever come in contact with that's ever done my podcast will tell you it's just a conversation with somebody with a microphone in your hand. Like it's not as bad as you think it is. So I'm going to push Neff a little bit. I'm sure he'll wind up doing it. It's just having to get him to do it. And I think maybe a bag of Skittles will probably push him over the edge there. I think he would really enjoy that. Thank you guys for listening to episode 12. If you guys have been a listener since the beginning, I appreciate all of you guys. If you could, please share out my content. I'm super easy to find. I'm on every smartphone that there is. I'm on every laptop that there is. With the way that technology is now, it's almost like you can't fucking get away from me. You can find me anywhere you want. I've got a Facebook page, the Let's Get Wobbled podcast Facebook page. Those have the links. If you want to click those will take you to where you need to go. But I'm also on Apple Podcast and Spotify, both completely free to listen to, obviously, as you guys know. But just share it with your friends. Let them know if they're interested in podcasts or maybe they're looking for something to get out of that regular routine of listening to the radio throughout the day, or they want something to listen to while doing their home chores. Just while doing home chores today, I started listening to some older podcasts just to try to get an idea of something that I'd want to talk about. and just kind of try to get those creative juices flowing. But if your friends like podcasts, they're not into podcasts yet, tell them about me. Let them know what we're trying to do over here. We're all just out here having a good time, and it's all about having fun, enjoying ourselves, and having laughs, and just sharing stories at the end of the day. Really, I mean, I'm not out here to make money. I'm not out here to fucking tell you what to do in your life. I'm just out here to maybe take up an hour out of your day, or just something that gives you something to do and look forward to other than the regular mundane bullshit. So if you guys could, please share my name out there. I'd really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope everything goes your way and the way that you want it. I hope you guys have your little cigar that you like or your special drink and you enjoy that through the week. And if you don't smoke or drink, I hope you just have a great fucking week. That's all I'm saying with that. But thank you guys so much again. Until next time, stay wobbled for me.